How can you get started with Rust? The first step in getting started is installing RustUp. Go to rustup.rs and follow the instructions, and you'll have a whole Rust toolchain on your machine. Next, you want an IDE with Rust support. Most Rust programmers, known as Rustaceans, use VS Code, but many use versions of Emacs and VI, IntelliJ, and other IDEs. For this video, we'll focus on VS Code since it's the most used. For Rust with VS Code, these are some of the most useful plugins. Rust Analyzer effectively gives you the compiler in your IDE. Inferred types when things are going well, errors when they're not, all without even saving your file. Crates helps with the Rust module system for any crate that's in the standard crates.io, letting you know at a glance if any of your crates are not up to date, what's the latest version, and clicking through to their documentation. Even Better Toml helps you with the config file for your Rust projects, which are all in Toml format. CodeLLDB gives you a great debugger. ErrorLens inlines error messages and highlights the lines with errors. To-Do Tree highlights to-dos in your code and is easy to customize for Rust's to-do macro. The next step is writing and running your first Hello World program. With our install of RustUp, we got Cargo, which is the Rust package manager. Cargo downloads your Rust packages dependencies, compiles your packages, makes distributable packages, and can even upload them to crates.io, in addition to linting, formatting, auditing, and many other useful features. We use Cargo New to make a new project and name it Hello World. We then cd into the newly created directory and look around. Besides the git.files, files, it has one file and one directory. Let's see what's in the configuration file cargo.toml. It configures the package name and semver version number, and identifies the Rust edition as 2021, which I expect to be the newest version until sometime later in 2024. This is a trivial program, so there are no dependencies. How about the source directory? It has one file, main.rs, and it's pretty simple. It defines the main function, which will run when the executable is run, and that function just prints hello world. We can run cargo check to check our code and its dependencies for errors. This compiles our code, but without doing codegen. Next, cargo build does the same thing, but does do the codegen. Cargo run does the full build and also runs the program, printing out hello world. If you look closely, you'll see that it didn't say compiling because the most recent version of the code was already compiled, which also explains why it ran so quickly. Want to see cargo run do the compile? We could modify the file, but in this case, let's just clean up. And if you forget the command to use, just ask cargo help and scroll around until you find cargo clean. After that, cargo run does the compile before the run. As you would expect, yet another cargo run does not compile. Of course, we always get the same result. If you want the IDE for VS Code, you can use code dot to start it on this directory. I click to trust the code that we just reviewed. Now we can look at the cargo.toml or main.rs files, but since we compiled, other files have been generated, most importantly the target debug directory with all my artifacts. In the last video, I already shared some minimal debugging within VS Code while explaining a tiny example of the Rust compiler enforcing safety. Now that you have an environment ready, how should you learn the language? I have 4 primary recommendations, depending on how you learn best. Method 1. If you like textbooks, then I recommend the Rust book. It's very well written and good for anyone who is already a programmer. I and several of my friends have all read it cover to cover, until the appendices. For going deeper, there are many advanced Rust books too, but this one covers all the basics and everything you really need other than as a reference. Method 2. If you like classes, video lectures, and assigned homework, then there are a number of good courses. Here are 2 from Udemy. I don't know Nathan Stocks personally and don't get money for this, but I think he did a good job with his courses. Method 3. If you want to see example code, then you can use Rust by example. Method 4. If you like short, simple programming challenges to gradually build your knowledge by doing, Rustlings might be the tool for you. The repo's README explains lots of options, but one is to simply git clone the repo, cd into the directory, and run cargo install --force --path dot. This takes a little while, so I'll speed up the video, but it's not that long. When it's done, you can run Rustlings, and it tells you how to use it. One way is to first start up VS Code on the repo and then use Rustlings Watch. That'll automatically update based on your progress. You see it shows we're on the very first exercise of about 100 exercises. By typing hint and return, I get a hint. Going into the file for the current exercise, I can play around with the example and learn as long as I want to. When I'm ready, I erase the line that says I am not done. And if I got everything correct, then the watch passes me from that exercise to the next exercise. Thanks for joining me on this quick intro to Rust. If you want to delve deeper, then now it's your turn to take one of the methods and start learning the language. Thanks for watching and have fun with Rust.